Hey guys, Santone with A-Class Sounds and Pure Pressure Sound Deadening. Today I'm going to show you how to apply a chunk of VibraFlex or 190 mil. What you're going to need for that is a heat gun. We highly recommend getting one of our fancy deadener rollers. And what I like to use is a damp cloth. So first things first, you're going to want to heat this deadener up until it basically looks like Freddy Krueger's face. See, this takes a little bit of time to do, but don't try to do this with the heat gun near any acetone rags or near anything that's basically flammable or anything like that. So you kind of just take your time and go through it. Pretty much once it gets melty like that, that's when you know that the thing is hot enough to apply. So once you get it all nice and flat like, basically go over it again and just make sure that it's nice and melty. Because basically that top layer of polyethylene needs to kind of melt off a little. Not fully, because then it'll get everywhere, like all over your deadener roller and all that stuff, and kind of just creates a mess. And just remember, you're just trying to soften this up now. Once you get it onto the panel, you're going to be heating it up some more. So once you get that all nice and hot, then you just kind of take this, your heat gun, and just kind of heat up the area that you're going to be placing it. You don't want to heat it up too much because you don't want to bubble the paint on the backside. You just want to warm it up. As you can see, I'm just pretty far away from the panel, so I'm not trying to boil it or anything like that. Okay, so just remember that this tip is hot. You can burn yourself. Alright, let's position this. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your sheet. See how flexible it is now that you've heated it up? So you're going to take your sheet, flip it over, get this off of here. Sometimes the sheet doesn't come off too good once you heat it up. Let's try to get all your little chunks of transfer paper off. Alright. And then this stuff stays warm for quite a while, so you got quite a while to put it on there. You don't gotta, be super fast or anything like that. What I like to do is kind of get it into position. Tag the top. Take your rag. And then just work from one side down to try to avoid any air bubbles. The reason why I use a wet rag is because it slides along and the water kind of acts as like a lube. Go across the surface. So then get that on there really good. And then just once you get around to a bend, then you kind of got to work it a little. And there's that. Now after you do all that, and then you're going to go through and reheat it up. Just to make sure that the adhesive really kicks off. Any cracks or anything that you find, you can just melt those back together by really heating it up. And that's where the roller comes into play. I don't know if you can see it really well, but kind of starts getting glossy there. That's when you know you're getting it hot enough. Again, keep in mind that your heat gun's hot. Just a little. Now you're back into heating it up. Just remember, go, you know, little bit by little bit. Takes a little bit of time, but gets it done. Especially around any contours, you want to make sure that that's super nice and warm, so that way you can basically get it into there. You don't want any air trapped underneath it. Air trapped is definitely gonna make the adhesive fail. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I just prefer using a heat gun because it's more controlled. A lot of people will say to put it in an oven. That works too. It's just kind of hard to work with, in my opinion. It gets too floppy, it gets too hot. Kind of stretches. Now that you got that, just kind of go around and roll it down. Basically what you're doing with the roller is you're trying to compress the particles that's inside the material just a little bit, and at the same time get any air bubbles out. And feel free to poke this sheet with like a nail or a screw or something. If there's like an air pocket, say like right in the middle, just poke it, and then you can work it out towards there, and then flatten it back out. And then after you flatten it back out, then you hit it with the heat gun again and melt that hole together. So now, of course, if you had any tight spots that you were trying to get into, say these crevices down here, that's where this would come into play, where you can kind of roll your roller inside there. Of course, we're not doing that. We're just kind of spot deadening this one. So yeah, just kind of go around and just feel it. Make sure. It's kind of where I use the wet towel again, because once this stuff gets really hot, it gets hard to touch for one, and at the same time it gets really, really sticky. So get it all over your hands, all that stuff. So there you go. Now you got that nice contour there, fully formed. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks.